We'll move on then. Liverpool's look like they're going to be abolishing the fan card scheme.
Yeah.
Seems like a good thing on the surface because it's addressing something. Like, you obviously don't go through the hassles and the strains of keeping up with memberships and ticking boxes on season ticket stuff.
Used to. Yeah, I know what they were like in the back in the day.
It's a difficult thing, and you know, certainly over the last few years, though, it's just got worse and worse. It's
the single biggest issue, isn't it? I think that keeps the fans and the club apart. I think if you look at the general landscape of the fan culture, I think they've got real close to the club, and the club have got really good at harnessing the sort of the good parts of being a supporter, and I think they've learned that you don't have to fear supporters as much. And you think of people like Spirit of Shankly and the work that they've done, I think, to open a few of those doors, Spine Cop, 1906, you guys, the Anfield Wrap, all these people that I think have just shown that, do you know what, the fans aren't just divvies shouting through the railings and holding up banners saying sack the board or whatever. They've actually got a voice. They've got a voice, and they've got you know, something to say and something to contribute to a club. But ticketing will always be the toughest issue because it's the one that affects people most really, isn't it? You know, and
it affects them in the pocket as well.
It affects them in the pocket, and it affects them in their ability to support the club, whether they can get to a game, whether they get an allocation for, you know, we all saw what happened with Madrid, we all saw what happened with Kiev. It'll happen again in the future. Next May, whether it's Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, whoever in a final, that issue will raise again. UEFA will be in the spotlight. I think the fan card thing it does seem like it was just one thing that was a bit unnecessary given the way the membership scheme works and obviously season tickets. So it does feel like it was
redundant.
Yeah, a little bit redundant. And obviously I think the club have taken the decision that everyone who gives the fan card up and has credits on it from games last season, to carry them over, they keep the same customer number, they just get a free membership, light membership I think it is, for the club for the new season. I think they've got to sign up, I think it's next week, 14th of July I think it is, they've got to sign up. So if you are wondering, make sure you sign up. But also I think that should streamline it a little bit, but there's still issues. I mean, we know that the ticket working group had a meeting quite recently, and
they printed the minutes out and just got lambasted on Twitter. It's like, it took time to do that, you know. I thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
if you read it all, you can understand. I understand the position of people from Spirit of Shankly and those who were there, but also I thought they did a really good job of explaining what the situation was and accepting their faults as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be perfect, because the only way it can be perfect is if the ground holds 500,000.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just not. It isn't going to happen, is it? You know, the ground still is too small, even though it's had a good upgrade in the recent years. It's still too small for a club of Liverpool's fan base, really. Old Trafford would be too small for a club of Liverpool's fan base at this moment, but
it's not planning for the good moments, though, is it? As well, they've got a plan for 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you got a plan for, you know, what happens if this TV boom just suddenly, you know, someone just pulls the pin on it and says, actually, you know what, we don't need it. I mean, I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but it could. It's got to be somewhere in the thoughts. But I think with tickets and Liverpool fans, I think because the demand is always there, that issue is always there, and so, you know, whereas you get a club like maybe Arsenal where it'll be in the spotlight when certain teams visit the Emirates and the price is high, or when the season tickets come out, when they're out of the sort of the limelight, if you like, and it isn't quite as, I mean, you see with Arsenal going to Baku, suddenly they're back in the spotlight, and people are saying, yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. Of course, these issues are always there. It's just whether a team's successful or not is sort of where they get publicised, which is not ideal, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. And I think I understand a lot of the fans' frustration. I mean, I had friends in Madrid, you know, groups of 6 where 4 of them had tickets and 2 of them didn't, and you know, you wouldn't say the 4 of them who had the tickets were bigger Liverpool fans or anything. It was just literally the look of the draw. I know that the Super Cup, there's been a bit of a
it doesn't even count towards credits, and yet they're ending up on the black market.
Yeah.
That's baffling to me, like.
Yeah, but the Super Cup, they just won a little battle with UEFA, haven't they, where they've got a few extra tickets. I don't know how many, I don't suppose it's a massive amount, but I know they're being offered to the fans who missed out in the ballot for the Champions League final. It's not really that great a consolation, but it's a small consolation, you know, and that's, unfortunately, sometimes, you know, you have to, as much as I don't think the club get everything right, and they've certainly got a few things wrong in recent years, well publicised, obviously, in, what was it, 2016 with the £77 tickets. I think they do they're starting to understand more. I think got more people on board who understand the fans' point of view, but also I think the fans, unfortunately, just have to accept that the club are, in some situations, the hands are tied.
I think you're right. I don't think there's a way and there's a scenario where you can fix all of it all at once, to be honest. And I'm not even sure you can maybe fix it for the majority of fans. I'll give you an example. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of us upstairs having a conversation about it a few months ago. Everybody's got a different point of view. Yeah. And you can literally take that across the board to 500,000, 1 million fans. Yeah. And we're all going to have something slightly different.
I would always, being where I'm from, I would always have leant towards the view of some sort of local allocation where you try and keep that lifeblood of younger local fans, get them in, because I do think it's important for any club, because I think as much as clubs are worldwide entities, I think you need to have a touch with where you're from and your roots and that kind of thing, because otherwise you're just you're AFC, MK Dons, sorry, where you just fans busting.
But they nailed it in the marketing slogan. Yeah. Was it Global Pulse, Local Heartbeat?
Yeah, well,
that's kind of what it is. That's what you're saying.
But at the same time, then I go to America next couple of weeks. I went to America last year, and you see the passion of supporters. Who am I to say that you don't take preference because you don't? You got people who fly in every weekend from wherever, and I know the out of towners sometimes get mocked, certainly by Evertonians, where it's the Norwegians and that kind of thing. But the commitment to some of these people, some people who've moved to Liverpool to just because of the football club.
The fella I sit next to at the match, a really good mate of mine, James, we go to most of the games together, and he comes up from London every weekend. And if it's a late game, Tottenham, for example, the back end of last season when we scored dead late, he left on 70 because his last team home was then. And he come up knowing that to watch 70 minutes of a game of football, knowing he's probably not going to see the end of it.
I'm paid British train fares, which is
ridiculous in and of itself.
May as well have flown. I mean, it's the commitment to Liverpool fans never ceases to amaze me. So I'm always very wary about wading into the local versus out of town sort of debate, because I think increasingly in the modern age, a Liverpool fan's a Liverpool fan, and the money that people pump in, the time people put in, the emotional investment people put into it, means that everyone's view is entitled, I think, to be listened to.
Absolutely.
And we saw that in the minutes of the meeting. There was a lot of conflicting views even amongst the committee to each other. There was solutions proposed, but they wouldn't have satisfied everyone, and that's the difficult part of it. And good on Liverpool for being so open about it. Good on Liverpool for continuing to speak to it. But unfortunately, I don't see the golden gun, really. I don't see the golden thing that'll just going to say that there we go, fixed.
It's going to be so difficult. I'm glad they'll be employing people cleverer than I to fix it anyway.